Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. It is October 14th, 2024, and we have special guest Torsten on today.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Torsten, how's it going?
It's going great.
Good. Thanks for coming on the podcast episode today.
My pleasure. It's always fun having a chat with you. We don't get to do it that often, or not often enough, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Or we're usually like trading bars, which is even better.
Yeah.
Your background looks really nice. Looks like, uh, yeah,
Yeah, I'm at my sister's place right now. She's in Saskatchewan and I'm just in my car for a little bit of silence.
yeah, soundproof.
Yeah,
That's cool.
exactly.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So I we were chatting last night about a topic and it was about change.
Yeah, like change and possibility. It's kind of fun hanging out with different people sometimes because you kind of you get a sense of where people are at. And yeah, I really had this thing show up yesterday, actually, in particular, where I was chatting and it really struck me that people people don't see possibilities. They look at the past and they just expect the past to be the same for the future.
Yeah.
There's
Wow.
and it's like, and it really struck me that's how pretty much everyone functions. And it makes sense because whenever you talk about something that seems like impossible, people just write you off as crazy
Hmm.
or insane or that you're full of it because they don't believe that it is possible.
That's funny you're bringing this up because, well, for the past like week, I've been sitting with the question, what else is possible? And yesterday I was
Yeah.
out at the river
Yeah.
and it's funny because I was looking for agates, like I call them jelly rocks because they're see-through.
Okay.
But I looked at what I was doing and I was expecting these agates to be there, like these rocks to be there. And I was like, wait, is that a question?
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, what else? Like, so with the tools like from Access Consciousness, what else is possible and how does it get any better?
Hmm.
I was like, but then even though I was at the riverbank, I also expanded out to relationships and life as well. And so I was like, oh, so what else in regards to life is possible and how does it get any better? And then that just like showed a different energy completely, as opposed to me standing there looking for these rocks, being like, I expect these rocks to be here. And in the past, that you could just see them all around.
Right. Right.
But the energy of like possibilities, like if people were to look at the energetics of it, it's different compared to, as you'd mentioned, looking at the past and then trying to work from the past and then
Yeah.
expecting the future to be like the past.
Well, it's almost like recreating the past. Like it seems like most people's default is they look at their past and they're like, okay, this is what I created, or this is what the society created, or this is what this country created in the past. So it's just going to be the same for the future. Like that's what happened. So of course that's what's going to happen in the future. And it's that's like that's not actually how it works. I mean, it does because if that's what you believe, that's what you create. So it does
Yeah.
work that way, and it is true. And at
Yeah.
the same time, we can change it and we can choose something different and create something different. And it's like, you look at any time in history where some big change has happened is because somebody or a group of people really believed that something else was possible, and they went out to actually create that possibility, and
Hmm.
they stuck to it even though it seemed like completely insane or impossible. And you can look at it in so many different ways, and so many different scenarios that show up. And so it's just so interesting, um how like I, the conversation that I was having was about war.
Hmm.
And I lately I've been talking to a lot of people, and the people that I've come across lately are really big into politics, which I am not, but this whole thing with war, and I said, there's always different possibilities. There's always different choices we can make somewhere along the line, wherever that is, to not have war in this world anymore. Like it's actually possible. Yet we choose, there's certain choices that are made at different times to always people choose war basically. And it's like, and if we choose differently, we could choose something else and not have war. Like it is an actual possibility. But because we've had war throughout our history on this planet for forever, you
Hmm.
know, people are like, well, that's like, they think I'm crazy. They think it's like a total impossibility to have peace on Earth completely. And it is. Um, it would require a lot of change with a lot of different people and so on, but it is possible. And that possibility is not something that most people are willing to even entertain as a possibility.
Yeah, it's just like the conclusion that there will be a war because a comment was
Exactly.
made. Yeah, like it's Thanksgiving here in Canada, and a
Yeah.
comment was made the other day. Oh, well, World War III is on its way, and I was like, where did what? And in my
Yeah.
brain, I don't think that way,
Yeah.
you
I know.
know.
And then it's like, and on that same note, like of Thanksgiving, so what do you give thanks for? And I'm like, well, you know, it's like thanks that we haven't chosen that direction yet. And what else is possible? And yeah, if we focused more on what we were thankful for instead of going down these rabbit holes of like darkness essentially. Like I've had so many people recently talk to me who are really political, are like concerned about the world, and it's like if you focus just on that concern and the negativity of what's going on, like that's what's going to be created. So like what if we did focus more on what we were thankful for, and which is really possibilities, essentially,
Mhm.
right? Like when you look at the energy of being thankful, grateful, um that's the energy of possibilities.
Wow, that's really cool. Because it's, as you mentioned that, I was like, oh, that, like, I can sense the possibility. Yeah, I can sense that totally. Because there were times when I was driving down the road and just gratitude washed over me. And then even yesterday with the word like possibilities, I was like, oh, it was so expansive. And yeah, you're correct about that. So, and like I was also thinking these past couple of days of how there's people in this world who just create their own reality,
Yeah,
and they have their point of view, and it could be, a really nice luxurious life with all the money they'd like to have and a nice peaceful life. And like the thought of war, devastation, poverty consciousness would never even be in their world because they're too busy creating their own life
exactly.
or just enjoying and yeah, continuously creating.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, I was actually thinking about, you know, what I am thankful for, and one of the things that I'm truly grateful for and thankful for is bars. I know we I actually had my bars run yesterday. My sister and I did a gifting and receiving with each other, and it was, I mean, it's magical. It's magical. So yeah.
I'll have to get my bars run because I know my mom can run bars and there's a couple people in this town. But you know what's so funny? It's very easy with you, like to just coordinate and run bars.
Yeah, because I think we both have a desire to get our bars run.
Yeah, totally. And then yeah, and then sometimes I'm, connecting and saying, okay, let's set up a time. And then like, for example, like with my mom, she'd be like, okay. But then I know she's busy with her life and it's just so funny because it might be a while till we get together. I
Yeah.
run my own bars, but I know
Yeah.
that bars trades or even bars classes are, super
Amazing.
great. Yeah, I am definitely grateful for like bars and I'd love to get them ran more often. And even like body process facelifts, like access facelifts.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm like, I guess I don't know. It's weird how when I say I'm grateful for, but it's also just sometimes just gratitude just washes over, it's just like this really interesting thing that just happens naturally, like where I guess maybe when I'm having a good day, it's like, oh wow, I'm super grateful for this,
totally.
hmm
And that's something honestly that I could focus on a little bit more sometimes.
Right? It's Thanksgiving every day.
Thanksgiving every day. Yeah, but it's amazing. Like it's amazing how much that changes one's world really when it's really what you focus on essentially. And yeah, it's so interesting to see to see what people focus on and to see how much energy people put into certain things in their life and you kind of wonder if it's really that much of a contribution necessarily, right?
That's funny. Yeah, you're talking to all the things that have been happening like for a while. So, because I had to ask the question, I was like, hey, you know, what does consciousness require of me? And like, is what's going on contributing to consciousness and the greater in the world? Or is this piece in part just creating unconsciousness and anti-consciousness? And
Yeah,
so I've had to sit there and be like, okay, so, and then even the question, like, okay, can it even change? Like, haven't even asked that, but and yeah, like, I also wanted to mention that I think it's in the Gentlemen's Club, they talk about like being and doing something different.
hmm,
Whereas, like, I mean, change is good. And like, but if you change, I forget that example. I think it's like you're sitting in a chair, and if you just change your position, you're just changing your position. But if you actually go and do something different or be something different, and then you choose that in every 10 seconds, then it's like that might create the change.
right. Yeah, yeah, it's like almost more like embodying the energy of the change and through that you choose different actions, right?
Hmm.
And and it creates something different with that. So yeah,
Well, I wonder if like the tool interesting point of view is a little underestimated.
it's way underestimated. Oh my goodness. I've been like interesting pointing viewing myself a lot lately, and it's amazing. It's amazing how much that shifts energy.
Well, especially like I think I'm watching, it's called Unbroken, and Angelina Jolie produced and directed it, I think. But
Okay.
it has a war piece to it because they're
Yeah. I've
yeah.
seen it. I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just, in regards to that, like, a lot of people have that mentality of like there's World War III, or like they want to move to like Mexico and they're
Yeah.
like totally against everything. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, the tool interesting point of view, even if, and I'm sure all those people would be totally maybe open to like just even using it once, maybe, I don't
Yeah.
know. Because it's like that's the point of view that they
Yes.
have and they stick to. And then like just I don't know if it's stubbornness or ingrained or an implant or an explant.
Yeah, I mean, interesting point of view. What I love about that particular tool so much is that, I mean, I use it on myself because I know I have points of views and that are, creating what I'm choosing in the world, right?
Hmm.
And and some of those are conclusions. So I know that using that tool and playing with it, I've been playing with it a lot more lately, that it's amazing like how much the energy shifts. Like if I'm noticing myself like kind of like not being a lot of space or something like that, and I start using, interesting point of view, I have this point of view, and I just keep on saying it over. Like It literally changes the energy.
Yeah, that's cool because like yeah, like if there's a heavy point of view and you use interesting point of view, I have this point of view and it lightens up and goes away or just lightens up in general. It's
Yeah.
interesting because like sometimes maybe when like I use it, I'm trying to get that conclusion because I'll be like, oh, this should work out. And it's like, and then when I have a judgment, I'm like, okay, interesting point of view. But it's so
Hmm.
funny because it's not actually using the tool. But it's
Yeah.
like, here's what not to do, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's still like, it's still, if you have a point of view of something and you say interesting point of view, like it does create something different, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Even if you are going towards a certain conclusion of something, it does create something different. It actually creates space for something else to show
Hmm.
up, right? And so I kind of find it doesn't matter how you use it per se, like it just creates something different. It's actually an amazing tool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. Because it also goes back to fighting with like the fighting piece that a while ago Gary Douglas gave to me. He's like, what are you fighting for? Clearing statement. What are you fighting against? Clearing statement.
Yeah.
And he's like, just use that.
Yeah.
And someone said, yeah, put that on repeat for like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's like really interesting because sometimes we fight ourselves, but then when we're fighting ourselves, it's just a fight that is maybe a point of view that is like kind of underneath it all, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, and this is the thing, like yeah, it's been amazing. Like I really, yeah, I've been just loving an interesting point of view because I just realized, like the thing that I think we fight the most is really ourselves, right? And the conclusions we have are a lot about ourselves as well.
For
And
sure.
it's like whenever you can get space around that, however it is, however you are able to get space around that, um, then you have the possibilities of something else to show up, or the possibilities for um, just yeah, you just have like more space, and whenever there's space, then you're not in that fighting, you're not in the conclusion, and yeah, it just it's amazing when you know how much that can change things.
Yeah, and it's really cool when you keep mentioning possibilities because I know like even like we've known each other for like a long time, like
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
And even like all those conversations were always really awesome. And even like I think the last time I got my bars ran was when you came over. That was a while ago.
Oh my goodness, you're ridiculous, Shauna.
And then, and though even those conversations we had then, it was like really cool because when we and it's funny because the possibilities we talk about are not even like it's not like we're planning to go to Mars. It's just like,
No.
oh, well, yeah, it's like very,
Actually, I don't
very,
think we want to go to Mars. I don't know. Like that's
yeah.
just, maybe just me. I'm pretty happy on Earth right now. So
Yeah, I'm happy on Earth too. Well, I mean, maybe the moon, but you can't really live there.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like these possibilities are amazing ideas. They're expansive and
Mm.
it's like benevolent and it's for the greater. And it's these
Yeah.
really cool possibilities, even if it's a conversation about money, where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, and you're aware, like in regards to the stocks, that there's people who make what you said, like, it might be exaggerating, but like a million a day or hundreds of thousands a day. And I'm like, whoa, that's a possibility.
Totally.
It's not something we're making up.
Maybe embellishing those numbers a little bit, but yeah.
Well, or like the possibility of having the life living in reality, like even including a house
Oh, totally. Totally.
or relationship or, you know,
Yeah, no, and I mean I think in part like having conversations that we have, it's interesting because I find it so much fun having conversations with you in particular is because we tend to have kind of like different focuses in life as well.
Hmm.
Uh, or what we're maybe looking at personally um tends to be like a little bit different, which is nice because then you have that sort of that different focal point or that different point of view or that different way of coming at something. And
Hmm.
so it's really, yeah, it's always like you you get a different perspective for sure. And so and different things to be aware of and ask and so on. So that's, yeah, that's amazing. It's
Yeah.
we'll have to do it
Eh,
again soon.
yeah, and it's a lot of fun because I think we're both like hedonists. So we're like, yeah, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
It's like you can do this. It's possible. Or what else is possible, you
Yeah,
know?
like what else is possible with this? And
Yeah, exactly. It's like keep asking questions and like never give up. And like you it's kind of like even with imagination, it's like, get creative and then see what your reality is.
totally. And also like like how much do we not allow ourselves to like expand our reality way beyond what we've been currently choosing it or allowing it to be, basically.
Yeah, I've definitely had to be like, because there was like this interesting energy coming up, and I was like, okay, and be bigger, be greater. Like, let's, like not let this energy run me over and stop me, or like get too overwhelmed or have anxiety. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go beyond this and be bigger, especially with business, because I was
Mm,
like, oh, what if business could be successful? And then I
yeah.
was like, oh, I might have to be bigger, greater, better, and like not allow that to stop and keep going, even though it's
Hmm.
like, it seems a bit daunting.
It does, and I get that. Like, and it's so interesting. Like, as this happens, you can always see somebody else's potential greater than you can see your own. And even talking about business, I see so many ideas that you have that are like amazing, right? And like, yeah, expanding those is exciting. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's exciting to play with.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens or create it.
Well, what is it like? Yeah, like looking at all our interesting points of views around business, um,
Mhm.
and all our interesting points of views around relationships, and all our interesting points of views around money. I mean, one thing that I'm noticing is I'm actually hanging out with family quite a bit, which I don't do very often. I'm hanging out with my dad quite a bit, and yeah, it's just so interesting also, like when you spend time with people that that you've known your entire life, and they also have a point of view of how you should be. And it's interesting to like not fall into their expectations of who they think you are or should be.
Mhm.
And so look, I've been looking at that aspect of relationship lately as well. Like, how much have I been limiting myself to fit into somebody else's viewpoint of how or who I should be? And so, yeah, it's been interesting looking at that as well. So, and that ties in really with our whole conversation about possibilities. Like, what possibilities, you know, have I been not allowing myself to be by making other people greater or trying to live under other people's expectations.
Mhm. Wow. Ooh. I totally get that. That's really cool. Thanks for bringing that up. And then, so for people who are listening, it's like when you notice something like that, you can take that tool, interesting point of view. And then, so if someone has a point of view about you, like let's just say your parents think you should be a certain way, you could be like, oh, interesting point of view. They have that point of view. Interesting
Totally.
point of view. They have that point of view. Interesting point of view. They have that point of view. Say it 3 times. And then if you find yourself like either judging yourself or aligning and agreeing with how your parents think you should be, again, you can say interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting
And
point of view.
also interesting point of view. I have that point of view of their point of view.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, like and then I would just emphasize saying it 3 times. I'm not really sure why 3 is the magic number, or if you say it even more than that, because it kind of just starts to unlock everything and it like
Totally.
frees it up.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, so those are some tools for people who are wondering what we're talking about because we've
Yeah.
been just jumping
And
in.
play with them. Like it's super easy. Anyone can do them. Anyone can choose this. Anyone can say it. Like just see what happens in your world when you do that.
And you don't like need a reason. It's literally like if you are judging yourself, if you're thinking too much, if you find someone judging you, all these things that come up all the time. And all you got to do is say interesting point of view a couple of times, and then it just shifts the energy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like I've really noticed it as soon as I've been going into limitation and using interesting point of view, it's been it definitely I noticed it almost instantly, like change of energy becoming lighter and stuff like that. So
Mhm. Wow. Another awesome conversation.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I will work on getting my bars run. Hopefully you kind of just, come out this way again.
Yes.
Or actually, isn't there a body class happening out in Saskatchewan?
Actually, I believe there is a body class happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to take a look at that and see when the dates are. Just
Totally.
go. Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for joining me today. And, it's Thanksgiving, so really grateful. Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me. This has been amazing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Hmm. Cool. Well, and yeah, you're invited to come back anytime. Yeah, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.